Now, how can we determine if something is a function if we're given a set of points? Well, first off, if we're given a set of points, we need to remember that the first term or first number we get is the x value or our input, and the second term is the y value or our output. So here we're trying to make sure that those inputs only have one output. And one way of doing that is using what's called a map. So let's go ahead and make a map with these. So I'm going to go ahead and grab all my inputs and list them out. And then I'm going to go ahead and take all my outputs and list them out. Now you'll notice that there's no repeats in either of my lists. That actually makes it a little easier, and I'll show you how to kind of handle that if there are any actual repeats in the next example. But now we're just going to map them out. So in the first ordered pair here, I have that 8 gives me a 0. Second one, an input of 5 gives me a 7. Third one, input of 9 gives me a 3. And here I have a 3 gives me an 8. Now, if you'll notice, there's only one arrow going from each of my inputs to a single output, meaning that the 8 only has one output, the 5 only has one output, 9 one output, and 3 only has one output. This is a function. Okay? Now, I could even add in one more here, and I want to show you that this won't affect it either. Let's say I added in 4, 8. Okay, so I'm going to add those to my list. I have a 4 as an input, and 8's already there. So I draw it, and does that mean it's not a function now? Well, no, that's fine. What I have here is my 3 and my 4 do the same thing, but when I hit a 3, I know that I'm going to get an 8. And when I hit a 4 on my remote, I know I'm going to get an 8. So that's all good. This is fine. So now let's go ahead and look at an example where a set of ordered pairs tells us that something is not a function. So I'm going to do the same thing as before. I'm going to list out all of my inputs. You'll notice that I did not list out the 9 twice. There's no need to. And I'm going to list out all of my outputs. All right. Now I'm going to match them up. So I see that the 9 goes to -2. The -3 outputs a 5. And then the 9 outputs a 5 as well. Now, the fact that both 9 and -3 go to 5 isn't an issue. However, the fact that when I plug a 9 into my remote, sometimes I get a -2, and other times I get a 5 means I have a broken remote. I can't predict what that 9 is going to do. Therefore, since the input 9 has 2 outputs, I know that this is not a function. So in closing, remember that each input can only have one arrow going from it. However, two inputs can go to the same output, just like in this first example here.